As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, the movement of people across borders is more common than ever.
However, not all countries are thrilled about certain foreign populations settling on their soil, and Americans are no exception.
While some nations are openly hostile, others are taking a more subtle approach.
In 2025, there are countries that, without loud headlines or dramatic announcements, are quietly pushing Americans out through policy changes, rising nationalism, or bureaucratic hurdles. Today on Discover the World, let's explore 10 countries that are discreetly making life harder for American residents, encouraging them to leave one regulation at a time.
Number 10. Italy.
Italy has been romanticized by many Americans as a dream destination for retirement or artistic living. But in 2025, the country is becoming more selective about who can stay and for how long. New residency permit processes are more rigid, and authorities are making it clear that expats who do not contribute economically or culturally are less welcome.
Rising populist sentiments have also led to less tolerance for foreign influence in smaller towns and regions.
While the charm of Italy remains, the sense of being embraced by the community is fading for many Americans. It's not a direct eviction, but it's certainly a quiet push out the door.
Number 9. United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, particularly Dubai and Abu Dhabi, has long attracted Americans seeking luxury and opportunity. However, the country is undergoing a quiet recalibration.
Shorter work contracts, stricter renewal terms, and increased requirements for business licenses have made life more complicated for foreign residents. At the same time, there's a growing push to replace foreign workers with skilled nationals under localization programs. The message isn't shouted from the rooftops, but it's felt through every delayed visa, every complicated document, and every closed door. Americans who once thrived here are beginning to feel the pressure to look elsewhere.
Number 8. The Netherlands.
The Netherlands has always had a reputation for tolerance and openness, but recent political developments are slowly reshaping that image. Dutch authorities are placing a renewed focus on preserving national identity, which includes re-evaluating long-standing visa programs and discouraging short-term foreign workers who don't contribute long-term value. Americans, especially those in the gig economy or living off remote incomes, are finding it harder to justify their stay.
The tax system has also been modified to prevent people from using the country as a financial loophole.
These policy tweaks, though not targeted explicitly at Americans, are gradually pushing them out.
Number 7. South Korea.
South Korea's rapid modernization and global connectivity have made it an appealing destination for Americans, especially English teachers and tech workers. But in 2025, visa rules are being enforced more strictly, and Americans are facing mounting pressure to conform to local cultural norms.
There's an increasing emphasis on language proficiency and social integration, and those who don't measure up may find their visa renewals denied.
Additionally, housing regulations in certain cities are being adjusted to favor local residents.
Without dramatic announcements, South Korea is sending a quiet message: respect the culture fully or consider relocating. Number 6. Portugal.
Portugal has been a top destination for American expats in recent years, but that surge has led to some unintended consequences.
Local residents are voicing concerns over gentrification and the rising cost of living, especially in cities like Lisbon and Porto.
In response, the government has revised its Golden Visa program and tightened rules around property investments and remote workstays. New taxes and stricter residency laws are subtly targeting foreign residents, especially those from wealthier nations like the US. While Portugal remains beautiful and peaceful, the atmosphere for American expats is becoming noticeably less comfortable.
Number 5. Costa Rica.
Costa Rica has often been seen as a friendly haven for Americans seeking a slower pace of life. Yet in 2025, many expats are noticing a change. The government has introduced more stringent visa rules and is pushing for policies that prioritize local employment and housing access. Rising anti-expat sentiments are surfacing in communities affected by increasing property prices and changing cultural dynamics.
While Americans aren't being forcibly removed, the cost of staying, both financially and socially, is rising. The once wide open door is now only slightly ajar, with quiet hints that it's time to move on. Number 4. Thailand. Thailand's allure as a tropical paradise has attracted countless American retirees and digital nomads over the years. However, recent shifts in immigration policy suggest that the Thai government is no longer as accommodating. New rules limit the length of stays for foreigners and impose higher financial requirements for long-term visas. Authorities have increased enforcement of overstay penalties, and visa runs, once a common workaround, are now heavily discouraged. There's also a quiet but noticeable shift in local attitudes, with some communities expressing fatigue over the influx of Westerners. The sun is still shining, but the welcome mat is starting to fray. Number 3. Germany. Germany has been a popular destination for Americans, particularly artists, tech workers, and students. But recent political changes and an increasingly cautious stance on immigration have made the country less welcoming. Bureaucratic delays for visa renewals, increased scrutiny of foreign workers, and a more complex pathway to permanent residency are discouraging many Americans from staying long-term. Local governments are also emphasizing integration into German society, and those who don't make a visible effort to adapt are finding themselves on the outside. It's not an overt push, but the bureaucratic wall is high enough to make many reconsider their place in Germany. Number 2. Japan. Japan has long been admired for its safety, orderliness, and unique culture, attracting many Americans who seek a new way of life. However, in 2025, Japan is tightening its immigration policies. Americans are finding it harder to renew long-term visas unless they meet increasingly strict language and cultural integration requirements. The government is promoting national identity and preserving cultural norms, leading to a quiet but persistent pressure on foreigners who don't assimilate fully. The rising cost of living in urban centers, combined with subtle social exclusion, is nudging many Americans toward the exit without the need for direct confrontation. Number 1. New Zealand. Once considered a paradise for American expats, New Zealand is quietly becoming more restrictive. Tighter visa requirements and increased scrutiny on long-term stays have made it harder for Americans to extend their time in the country. The local government is prioritizing domestic job seekers, and Americans without highly specialized skills are finding it more difficult to gain approval for work or residency permits. Added to this is growing frustration among locals who feel that foreign residents, including Americans, are inflating housing prices and disrupting the cultural balance. The sentiment is subtle, but the message is clear: it's time for outsiders to move on. While none of these countries are openly deporting Americans en masse, the shift is unmistakable. Through visa changes, policy updates, and changing public sentiment, these nations are slowly reshaping the environment for foreign residents. For Americans abroad, especially those seeking long-term stays or lifestyle changes, the writing is on the wall. It's a reminder that being a global citizen requires not only a passport but also an understanding of when the world is quietly telling you to go. Thanks for watching infoSphere. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into global trends and how they affect you.